All right, so today's project is we need to figure out a new turbo feed line for my old turbo 4-cylinder Mustang. So this is the standard line that comes with it, and the fittings are on it are 10mm by 1mm thread pitch flare fittings, something like a brake line, very standard stuff. Now, a lot of the aftermarket turbos, especially the eBay ones, don't come with a 10x1 fitting, flare, whatever it may be. It comes with one of these usually. Now, I have never worked with NPT stuff before, so this is all new and exciting for me, but this is a 1/8 NPT thread fitting, line, whatever you want to call this. And I have searched far and wide, high and low, to find a simple adapter that would be like a female 1/8 NPT that would go on here, and it would end up in a male fitting that's 10x1mm flare adapter. The closest thing I found after hours of searching was this fitting, and at the time I was still confused about what I was looking for, so this ended up being a 1/4" flare fitting to a 1/4" NPT, and not even close. So that was out of the question. So then I turned my attention to where the oil feed actually comes out from, and it's this assembly that is bolted to the driver's side of the head on those old 4-cylinder Mustangs, the 2.3 Lima engines in a turbo application. So it's bolted to the side of the head, and it's got a 1/4" NPT inlet that has an outlet of 10x1mm flare. That's where the brake line would bolt up to. And it has a second outlet here that's also a 1/4" NPT. So some searching later turned up this fitting right here, which is exactly what I needed. It's a T fitting, which is a 1/4" inlet that would screw into the head, and it's a 1/4" outlet up top and a 1/4" outlet on the side. So what that means is I can take this switch, put it right here on the back side, thread it in, and I'll probably put maybe just a little bit of sealant right on the last couple of threads so that it seals it nicely, but that's not the point right now. Then I was able to find this adapter, which is a, come on now, 1/4" NPT female that ends up, I'm sorry, 1/8 inch female, 1/8 inch female, and it ends in a 1/4" male fitting. So what you do is you screw this one onto here, or rather, easier to screw this one onto the feed line and tighten it and some sealant, whatever else has to be, and then screw this onto the entire assembly. And just like that, you have yourself, oh Jesus, you have yourself a turbo feed. All done and complete, ready to go. So this will bolt up onto the turbo, and that's a nice thing. This eBay line actually came with a fitting that just flange rather, that just bolts up to the turbo, no fuss. The only thing I'm gonna have to go and research is if this restrictor is actually proper size for my turbo. If I'm honest, it looks a little small, but I know almost nothing about this stuff. All I ever operated with were just stock lines. This is the first time venturing into aftermarket and especially eBay territory, so this is all new and exciting. But yeah, so all you need to adapt your aftermarket style turbo feed is a 1/4" NPT T fitting that accepts your 1/4" switch, and a 1/8 to a 1/4" adapter that accepts your 1/8 line and adapts it, you guessed it, to a 1/4" NPT thread. And there you go. I'm gonna screw this into the side of the head, and that'll be our oil feed done, and should be very nice. It looks to be long enough, plenty long actually. It might be like coiling in the engine bay. So this is perfect. This is done. Now the second part of this is going to be very controversial, because the second part is our return. Now, here's my reasoning behind this before I get flamed. I did some very quick measuring, and this is the line I ended up getting. It's a very similar line. Everyone sells a version of this. It's all the same thing. This is like a 2-foot, I think, 24-inch line, maybe 20-inch line. And it's a nylon hose that's got metal reinforcing inside and this just whatever wrap outside. It doesn't really do anything. It just makes it look nice. But it's, most important is it's a nylon hose. So nylon is oil resistant, so it won't swell up and break apart like a rubber or even a silicone hose would. So this is great for running oil return because it's going to withstand it. Problem is it came with these AN10 fittings. And the issue with that is these fittings on their own are so long that if I were to have two of them going from the turbo to the fitting on the block that drains it, I would have about this much of the hose remaining. And I don't think that's going to give me enough flexibility. And it's just going to be a mess trying to install that and have it work properly. So what instead I'm going to do is I'm going to do something that's a bit unconventional and probably some people will really disagree with, but I think it will work fine. So what I have here is a 1/2-inch NPT fitting. Here I have an unopened one. It's a 1/2-inch NPT fitting that ends in a 1/2-inch barb. And again, this is a result of hours and hours of research trying to find the right fitting. The right fitting for this would be a 1/2-inch NPT to a 9/16 barb. But for the life of me, on all of the internet, I could not find such a fitting. This one is fairly common. You can find these even at hardware stores. 1/2-inch to a 1/2-inch. But a 1/2-inch to a 9/16, it just simply, I couldn't find it. So this is what's here. It's a 1/2-inch to a 1/2-inch barb, and it is secured onto the hose with a dirty old hose clamp, the old warm gear hose clamp. Now, a lot of you are going to be uncomfortable with this, but at the end of the day, my reasoning behind it is this is simply oil drain. It has no pressure acting upon it, and the only thing it has to do is direct oil down towards the oil pan and just not expand or just get damaged by oil. So the nylon hose is already going to do that. And what I think I will end up doing, because it has a good seal to it. Let me see. Let me sanitize this. There you go, nice and sanitized. It has a good seal to it. It doesn't have any leaks. So this here is an airtight seal, and to me that's good enough for oil that's going to be just simply dripping through this hose. It's not going to have any pressure. It's not going to have any real slushing around. It's only just going to leak out of the turbo and leak right back into the engine. So I'm going to cut this hose shorter. I'm going to put the second fitting in there, and I'm going to secure it with a second hose clamp. So there's my turbo oil setup. This is going to be the feed. This is going to work flawlessly. I might even put a little bit of sealant right on the back threads of this. So again, not on the front, because on the front it has a chance of, just coming over this edge and going inside and then clogging up this fitting. I'm going to put sealant right on the back ends, right at the last couple of threads that I'm going to engage, and that's just going to ensure that it's a good seal. So that's the plan. This is the oil feed, figured out. Very, very easy setup once you actually know what you're doing. It took me a lot of attempts to get, just look at all the crap I have here. Where's the other one? This thing. Took so many attempts to figure this out, and finally there it is, final product. Very nice and clean. And this, we're gonna go with this. We're gonna see how it works. I'm pretty sure it's gonna work, and if not, well then it's just gonna be we're gonna have to come up with something else. And sorry about having this transmission here. It's really got no other place to be right now. There's your oil return and oil feed for a 2.3 Lima turbo engine on an old Mustang Thunderbird XR4 Ti. So yeah, 2.3 Fords. This is aftermarket turbo lines. This is the way I figured out. I'm sure other people have already, but this is what I was stuck with. There you go.